Hello, and welcome to the Healthy is Happy podcast, the show that helps you get back to the basics of healthy and happy living. We're your hosts. I'm Nellie Ward.
And I'm Jennifer Maha. This podcast is the passion project of two friends who believe that healthy living is happy living. Always look for the good in others, never stop believing in the power of positivity, and think a little hard work goes a long way. To us, healthy living is simply a commitment to making daily choices that keep us on a healthy trajectory, both physically and mentally. We believe it's a lifelong journey, not a destination, and we like to be your co-host along this journey. Buckle up and stay hydrated. It's going to be an epic adventure. All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another excellent episode of the Healthy is Happy podcast. Today, it is just Nellie and I.
Hello.
And Nellie came up with the fabulous topic of New Year's resolutions. It's the time of the year when we overeat, overindulge, get a little lazy because it's either too hot or too cold outside. And we're going to talk about just how do we want to make plans and kick off the new year. What are some good tips, some good suggestions on how to make resolutions, and then likely on how to keep them.
Yeah. So the day that this should launch would be December 27th, I believe. So
that sounds great.
4 days out from New Year's, and everyone's kind of, just getting through the holidays and thinking about what they can do for the New Year's. I think that we should start off by saying at Basic, we love the idea of New Year's resolutions in the sense of it's a time for you to reevaluate and, set some healthier and happier goals for yourself. That being said, there is no reason to wait for the new year.
True story. You can resolve to do something any day.
Yes. So, yes, it is a good day because it is the first of the year. It's a great point to start. But that being said, if you fail at a New Year's resolution, that doesn't mean that you can't restart on March 3rd.
Right. Right.
So we are fans of creating healthy and happy goals for yourself, but not necessarily it having to be
New Year's.
January
and also,
1st.
It's okay to just reset.
Yeah.
Like if your goal isn't going great, just reset it at any time.
Yeah.
Anytime. So I think maybe to start with, I think a good idea when you're trying to set what maybe you want to do in the new year is assess what happened this year, right? Like Nellie and I actually have this as a task to do in the coming weeks from a business standpoint is to look at what have we accomplished in 2022? What are some of the high points and the low points? So we can really get a good sort of, understanding of where we are so that we can hopefully plan where we want to go. And I think when you're looking at resolutions, that's another thing is look at the different areas of your life. What went well in 2022? What are you proud of? What do you think you could do better at? Or what do you want to spend more attention and focus on? And then from there, I think maybe try to make some attainable goals, right?
Yep.
Would be a good way to potentially start that.
Yes. And that is what the big note I made on our whiteboard is how to make and keep your New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
With the big one being keep.
Keep.
And those are to make smart goals.
Smart goals.
Smart goals. What are smart goals?
Not dumb ones.
Yeah. They're S for specific, M measurable, A achievable, R relevant, and T time bound. So those are some good ways to make smart goals. If they fall under that category, it's a smart goal.
I like that.
Yeah. It's pretty clever.
Pretty clever. So are we going to break these down into
we are.
What a specific goal would be?
Yeah. So the meaning of specific is just making it clear. So a lot of people, the number one goal that people have is to lose weight. Well, that's pretty vague.
Arbitrary. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you say, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds in the next 3 months, that is specific.
Which also makes it measurable.
Yeah. If you want to run, I want to start running. Okay, well then I want to run a 5K by April. These are specific goals. When you just say, I want to be a runner or I want to make more money or things like that, there's no way to...
There's no path
specific.
Forward.
It's not specific enough. So you need, in order to be successful, you need to make them specific.
And I think the benefit of that is if you have a specific goal, then you can create specific steps and benchmarks to achieve that goal. Otherwise, it's just arbitrary and you're just working towards this idea of something, right? Because there's no specific steps you can take. So if you want to lose 5 pounds in 2 months, then I probably should exercise and eat healthier. And then from there I can make very specific weekly goals, right? Of eating more vegetables or drinking more water or
absolutely
getting more 30 minutes of cardio in a day.
Yeah, so just making them as, if you have a vague goal, make it as specific as you can.
Focusing on it.
Yeah.
Focus on it. I like
specific goals are more successful goals.
That's great.
M is measurable.
Measurable.
So tracking progress. This is great for almost anything that you want to do. You can figure out a way to track it. Whether it's I want to, take more steps each week. Whether it's I want to eat more vegetables. If you make it a priority to track these goals, then and measure them, then you're more likely to achieve them.
Well, and I think also a good thing about measuring your goals is if you're doing that, you know that you're making progress, right? I think one of the reasons people fall off of following through with goals and resolutions that they set is you don't feel like you're making any traction, you're not making any progress, like you don't know if it's working, so then you just give up because you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But this way, if you create measurable increments, then you can say, okay, within the past week, I've eaten 3 more servings of vegetables or drank 8 more ounces of water a day or whatever it is. Then you know that it's working, you know that you're achieving it, and that's a little piece of like encouragement on the inside, right, to make you want to keep going.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a great point, is measuring your success.
Yeah. And progress, so like we tend to get fixated on end results of things, but if you track your progress and you are like aware of the progress that you've made, it's easier to keep going. Because whether it's I want to make, I want to lose 10 pounds by the end of the year. Well, 10 pounds can seem like a lot, but if you've lost 2, and it's like, okay, well, I can keep going because I'm on the right track. So just like
keeps you motivated.
It keeps you motivated. That is exactly it. Yep.
I like that. Our third thing is achievable. So that says big goals equals bigger stretch. Make small steps.
Yes. So like big goals, those are the ones that we all try to like tackle and make our, New Year's resolutions. Okay, I want to eat healthier. Okay, I want to do this. Okay, I want to run a marathon. Well, that's great. If you want to run a marathon and you want to run your first marathon, well, let's take smaller steps. What you need to do, I need to start by running a mile. Yep. I need to start by doing these things. So while it is good to have big goals, being able to narrow those big goals down into smaller goals so that you feel successful on that route.
And you can break it down. Like there's an old saying where people say, how do you eat a large elephant? And it's like 1 bite at a time.
Exactly.
You just take the small steps to do these things, and don't be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Some people, I think, like to look at the end goal.
Yeah.
To keep their mind on it, and some people find that overwhelming. And so, depending on what your mindset is, like if it's keeping that end goal in mind to keep you motivated, then do that. If not, just break it down to what's the actual next goal that I have to reach, and focus on that. And when you do that, then you just extend your vision to the next goal that you have to reach.
Well, and that's also true for, if I have a big goal of I want to start eating healthier. I want to cut out processed foods. I want to do these things. Well, those are big goals. So just breaking them down so that they aren't so overwhelming, you're more likely to be successful and not
like if you want to give up, say, processed foods, maybe you start by looking first at what you eat within a week, 2 weeks, and then eliminate one thing at a time.
Yep.
And then once you no longer crave that thing, whatever that might be, then move on to the next thing and then reassess constantly so that within a year, maybe you can accomplish that goal. Right?
Absolutely.
But you can't do that within a week.
Yeah. And if you want to eat more vegetables, well, then you need to start by adding them to your plate or saying, okay, or I'm going to have a completely plant-based day on Sundays or things like that just make you incorporate more vegetables into your diet.
Yeah. Or just seeing how and when you can fit them in. Because I know when I try to eat more vegetables, one of the easier things to do is just to buy like the bite-sized carrots and broccoli and cauliflower and like snack on that in between meals as opposed to all the other things that like chips and salsa or whatever else is lying around the house. And that's an easy way to eat healthier and make yourself eat more vegetables.
Yeah. That's great.
All right. So our R word is relevant. So that's just for the right reasons, right? Like why are we doing it? Is this a relevant goal?
So goals, there is statistically proven by Harvard School of Medicine.
Okay.
Okay. It is true. They have proven, I don't know how these studies do anything they do, but they say that you are more likely, 70% more likely to complete a goal if you're doing it out of reasons that are not out of self-hate or self-remorse.
Yeah.
So
positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, it does, but Harvard says, so I believe it.
Well, if you care about something, you're more likely to do it.
Yeah, but if you're saying that I want to lose weight because I don't like the way I look and it's coming out of a place of negativity, you're more likely to fail than you are to say I want to lose weight because I want to, be healthier for my children. I want to be able to do this hike that I want to do. I want to be able to go for a run. If you're doing it out of like a desire for better, rather than like, I want to lose weight because I hate myself or I hate the way I look or things like that, you're more likely to succeed. So trying to make them relevant to your life currently and with the positive
outcomes of like where you're trying to go with your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, for people, there are different goals, making sure that it's coming out of a place of passion and not just because, my best friend's doing it, so I'm doing it. It's something that's good for you and something that, New Year's resolutions are a time to be, kind of selfish because it's something that you're doing for yourself and for your family or for the people that care about you. It's something you're doing for you. So do something that you want to do. Yeah, correct.
Very often Nellie says, hey, do you want to run a marathon with me? And I very quickly say, I do not, Nellie, but I will support you in your marathon running.
Yeah. So, but it's relevant, right? To my life, to if I set a goal that I want to run a certain time, well, that's relevant to me. That's not relevant to Maha. So Maha
but it's relevant to me to cheer for you and encourage you.
Oh, me too. Yes, I encourage Maha in all of her things too.
I just don't have to do it with you.
Yeah.
I'm off the hook. Off the hook.
Oh, yeah. And that's like this past weekend we went and ran a 10K and Maha at the start line. I was like, are we going to run together
And I said, no, we're not, because Nellie is a lot faster than me and I am at a phase where I'm okay with my own speed and I don't want to hold my friend back.
Okay.
This is true.
It is true.
It's true. I'm also injured. My hamstring. It's just real bad.
Yeah, but we had fun. And
also the hamstring, not an excuse. I'm slow without the injured hamstring.
As if. But we both cheered on each other's goals, right?
Yeah.
Your goal was to go out and have fun, and my goal was to
run hard.
And we both did our goals, and we had fun, and that was it. So make goals that are relevant to you, not to the people around you, not to your significant other, not to your best friend, not to your sibling.
Well, and I would say, for a lot of people, I think a lot of women listen to our podcast, probably a lot of people who spend a lot of time caring for others and prioritizing other people's lives. So maybe if you aren't really sure what to do for a New Year's resolution, maybe just resolving to put yourself as a priority, more often, right? So that you are finding goals, whether they're health, fitness related, whether it's like mentally for your own mental health, whether it's just finding a new hobby that brings you joy and it's just something that you get to do for your own happiness. I think those are goals too, right? Is like how to find more time to spend for yourself doing the things that make you happy that don't necessarily make other people happy. Yeah. Because a lot of us, as we get older, we spend a significant amount of time devoted to other people, which is wonderful. That's a great thing to do, but it is good sometimes to sit back and say, what do I enjoy?
Yeah. And what do I need?
Right. Mm-hmm. And like, I like to prioritize time at the end of the day so I can sit and either listen to an audiobook or read a book before I go to bed, because that makes me happy. Mm-hmm. It makes me sleep better.
Yeah.
So I just have to say, hey, it's mom's reading time. Everybody put yourselves to bed.
Absolutely. No, it's very important to, and like that, I think a lot of people, especially in the busy lives that we lead, get caught up in the day to day, and then, you forget. Weeks go by and you're like, wow, okay.
You just forget.
Yeah.
So our last tip here is time bound. So this is just having some sort of a timeline, right? Because if you don't put a timeline on something, like one day I would like to do X, Y, and Z, like you're probably never going to do it, because if you look at the days of the week, you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No one day.
Yep.
So one day
does not exist.
Always the best idea. That I actually stole from a Harley Davidson ad, everyone. That's not an original piece of content. No.
That was really good. I was like, wow.
No. It's a copy from a Harley Davidson ad that I use in one of my advertising classes, because it's fantastic, because it's true. Like, there is no one day. And so I think putting goals on yourself, whether it's a weekly goal, a monthly goal, in the year, whatever it is giving yourself a timeline. And don't make it too tight of a timeline where it stresses you out, because a resolution shouldn't be stressful. It should be something that you're happy to do and that is making your life better. Again, whether it's like learning a new skill, like, if you say, hey, you know what I'd really like to do? I would like to start producing podcasts and making interesting content one day. Well, how about, say, in January, you're going to start doing that, right? And make a list. What do I need to do to achieve this? And make a plan, right? Because if we have a plan, then we can do all the steps to achieve the plan. Otherwise, it's just a wish.
No, it is. And I can say that's relevant in life and work and, anything, because there are so many things that, starting a podcast is something we wanted to do for forever until we finally put a date on the calendar to do it.
And Nellie's like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. We're going to sit down in front of the microphones and we'll just figure it out.
We have figured it out, I will say.
Figure it out.
We always have things to talk about. It's a true story.
True story.
So yeah, putting a timeline on it. Just not saying that if you fail and you don't, it's not to, make you feel like a failure. It's just it's the only way to make it you accountable.
Well, and timelines can also be adjusted. So, I mean, just from our own like personal business perspective, you know, we started this company 2 years ago, right? We had this big idea. We want to build this piece of technology, and we made a lot of progress really fast, and we kind of had to like slow it down a little and pivot some. And so our original timeline, which I think we both were kind of knew like it's probably not going to happen like that because it's life and everything. There's so many moving pieces and parts, but like we didn't get down on ourselves. We didn't get upset about it. We just have to adapt and figure out like, okay, what does the new timeline look like? What is this new thing we're doing on? And so anytime you make a goal, like things happen. If you want to run a 5K and you get injured or you pull a muscle or something, don't give up. Don't quit. Don't walk away. Just pivot, iterate, and say, okay, well, if this is not currently achievable with where I am right now for whatever reason, what can I do, right? Yeah. How far have I come? And so that we fully understand and appreciate what we have accomplished thus far, and what can I continue to do? Like we have a good friend who was training for the New York Marathon. Like 2 weeks from it, she tore her MCL.
Her knee is very swollen.
Yeah, she hurt herself. And so her goal of like running the whole race and having a great race was kind of out the window. But the goal of getting to the finish line wasn't unachievable. And so she just had to let go of her original goals and accept what she was able to do and do it and make the most of it. And so I think...
And her finish line smile was just as big.
Just as big. Because like life threw her a curveball and she just had to adapt to it. And so when you set goals, like if Nellie's saying, if you set specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals, give yourself permission to pivot, to iterate, and to reassess them. Because sometimes you set a goal and you're like, this may not be possible right now.
No.
But don't like not make goals for the fear of that happening, and don't quit on your goals.
Yeah.
And be open to the idea that your goals may actually change for some reason.
And if your goals do change, or you get bogged down or something does happen, failures aren't failure. Like there's no success without failures. So
you learn more from failing than you ever do from anything else. And you learn it faster when you fail.
Yes.
I mean, you really do. I mean, how many times have all of us, I would say, gone out and run a race and started out too fast? Well, you failed at that, and you learned how bad it hurt at the end of the race. So you don't do it that often anymore.
Yeah, I was learning yesterday that you need to adequately train no matter the distance.
No matter the distance, yeah. So when we ran the 10K, we started out at a steady pace, and a lot of people passed us, and I was like, that's cool. Well, we eventually caught up with all the people who went out the gate real fast, and I was like, we're just going to run this steady pace for 6 miles, and we did. And I was like, you know what? Experience. Experience.
Man. Well, so I wrote down a few good goals for people who don't have any yet and are looking for things to do. These are all health and wellness related, whether it be mental health, physical health, anything like that. Just good things to do that come from a more positive angle. So I'll read a few of them. How does that sound?
This sounds wonderful.
And please input any that you think of as
you know me well enough to know I will. Yeah. Jump right in.
Focus on a passion, not the way you look. So focus on doing things that you want to do for fun and because they bring you joy, not because of your physical.
Well, and I would say also the way you feel, right? Because feeling healthy is a mental and a physical state, and the way it should not ever be related to the way you look. Because there are plenty of people who look great and are unhealthy mentally and physically, and the opposite of that as well. So I would 100% agree with that, but like just it's about how you feel.
Well, that leads me to number 2.
Number 2.
Work out to feel good, not to be thinner.
Amen.
Stop gossiping.
Wait, let's go back to the workout one.
Okay.
So we talk about exercise a lot, and that's a lot of people's. I would say it's probably like the number 2 resolution. Number 1 is usually lose weight. Number 2 is usually exercise more.
Yeah.
Find exercise that you like.
Yes.
Right. No matter what it is. Like if it's like one of our really good friends has struggled for several years trying to find exercise that she likes. She's tried to run. She's tried to walk. She's tried to do triathlons. Yeah. And she found CrossFit. And she
found Iron Tribe.
Yeah. Iron Tribe, sorry. But she does a lot of weightlifting. Yeah. And she loves it. And she is extremely happy, and she's healthier than she's ever been. And it took her a while, but she found the things that she loves, and she's motivated to wake up every morning and go do her workouts. And there's something to be said for that. I could get
teary-eyed thinking about her because she's come a long way.
And so just because magazines, podcasts, articles say do this, do that, find something that you enjoy, whatever that is. And
she's learned, she said this to us one day over coffee, like she loves feeling strong and lifting weights is something that brings her joy.
And it took her a long time to find that. She had no idea that's what she wanted to do.
And she's been so committed. I mean, it's been
Probably the
truly
longest
amazing.
track record she's had of like exercising on a regular basis.
Yeah, and like if
recent
she's
years.
listening, she knows who we're talking about, and
Yeah,
we
we're
love
so
you.
proud of you.
Yep.
But find something that makes you happy. And if you can find a friend to do it with you, it makes it better. But if not, like, don't worry about that. Like, find something that makes you happy.
Absolutely.
Hip hop dancing, yo.
The next one I have is to stop gossiping. Let's just not be that person. Spread positivity, not negativity. I think about gossiping as something that's huge to me. It's just something I try to avoid at all costs. And it's that one thing that, if you think about it, like you would never want to be on the other end of it.
Never.
So that's a good goal for people to have. It's like, we're all human. We do it out of just, doing it. But like, it's just,
keep it
try
to a
not
minimum.
Keep it to a minimum.
And I always tell my kids, because every now and then they'll come home and tell me school gossip, like so-and-so said. And I always try to tell
get it out of your
them-
system sometimes with like your one friend or whatever. But
I always try to tell my kids, like, that's someone else's story to tell. So, like, we don't know if that's true or false. We're not going to share that story because it's not our story. So we only tell our own stories. And we don't share other people's stories because that's not our story to tell, whatever that information is.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good lesson to keep in your own head as an adult, is like, that's someone else's information. And if they want it shared, then they would share. And if not, then they wouldn't.
Oh my gosh. And like, I actually talk about, this is something that I go on about, and just, I coached kids for a long time. And when I heard negative talk, I was like, okay, you would never want to be on the other end of it.
No.
And B, how many times have we all played the game telephone? So it goes from one person's mouth to the next person's mouth to the next, and the story has twisted 100 times.
It's never the same.
So just being mindful of that, and just,
and I would say also, if someone gossips to you, A, stop that. But B, like, where did you hear that from?
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, cite your source. It's just like reading a news article.
Yeah.
Like, who is the source of this information? Is it a credible source? Because it might not be. And then you're just spreading other people's lies or rumors or whatever. And, like, none of it feels good. Not in any way.
No,
Not in
and
any way.
so where you would typically be gossiping, or spread positivity. So like, I'm telling you, you're going to walk away from a conversation feeling better if you stop the gossip and say, maybe they're going through a hard time, or maybe this is happening in their life, or you're going to feel better.
Or who watched Yellowstone? Let's just talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to walk away.
Change the topic.
You're going to walk away feeling better. I mean, from the whole conversation, as a selfish way to look at it, you're going to walk away and you're not going to have any guilt or remorse for the things you might have said.
True story.
Do a random act of kindness a day. So something that's not, just try to, it can be super small. It can be commenting something kind on someone's Facebook post, just like something small that is for someone else. That's just a random act of kindness.
It can also just be waving at people, because a lot of times people, especially
smiling at someone
this time of the year, people are busy, they're stressed out, and they're kind of in a bad mood. And just like making eye contact with people and telling them hello. Like, I go to the grocery store all the time just because, like, it's on my commute every day, and we're always running out of something like milk or I don't know what. And I always try to like make eye contact with everyone in the grocery store, like, that works there, and tell them hi and ask them how their day is, because I feel like they don't get that very often.
Or like
and
a thank you.
Selfishly, it actually makes me feel better, because like I'm now aware of like other people's lives. But just small things like that, I think, go a long way. And you're not really going out of your way. You're just acknowledging other people's presence.
Spread positivity.
And treating them with the respect that they truly deserve.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Call friends instead of texting them.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
It's a hard one. And I'm not saying do this every day, but like, just, I mean, there are friends,
I would say, or family.
Just, calling to check in on people. It goes a long way. How many times do you look at your phone and you're like, why is this person calling me? And if they're ever just calling you to be like, hey, how are you doing? Like, that makes people feel good. It makes you feel good. It keeps friendships in contact.
Yeah.
And there's so many people. I mean, think about people that come into your lives, and you just, I have friends right now who are in way different phases of life than I am in, but just having a moment to stop and be like, okay, let me ask them how they're doing. It's a good way to keep those friendships close, and it's a good way to check in on the people you care about.
Yeah.
Not every day. No one has time to talk to people on the phone every day. But
Don't call me.
If you have, once a month, be like, okay, I'm going to call and check in on this person.
My mom actually has sort of a calendar, and there are certain people in her life that she tries to check in on periodically. And so she'll put it in her phone, like, check in on so-and-so. And she'll, like, when she talks to them, she'll set a reminder for like a month from now or whatever. And I think I've always thought that was a pretty good habit to have, because like, you do get busy, and if you don't see people, sometimes they fall off of your radar.
Absolutely.
And you forget to check in on them to see how they're doing. And and to just make contact with them, to just show up in their lives. And so that also may be just a good tactic is if you're trying to keep in touch with people that you care about and maybe lost touch with, is like make it to do, like put it in your actual calendar so it shows up in your daily life of something that you need to make kind of a priority.
Yeah.
Because then you actually do it.
Absolutely. That's a really good thing. I didn't even know that.
She does that. It's really good.
For those who don't know Miss Cindy's just the best.
She's pretty awesome. Yeah.
She's pretty great. Take the stairs. That is kind of a basic one, but people who are working in corporate offices, things like that, trying to get more steps in, just take the stairs.
And sometimes you get there faster.
Oh my gosh.
If it's just 2 or 3 flights, you get there faster than waiting for the elevator.
Yeah, and it goes a long way for your cardiovascular health. Just saying.
We went to the beach at the for Thanksgiving, and we stayed on the first floor, which is not, or like the beach level floor, right? So like every time we wanted to leave the condo, we had to go up to the first floor. And me and the kids took the stairs the whole time because A, it was faster, and B, we were getting on our steps.
Get your steps in.
We're working on our fitness.
This one is one that I think is relevant as we start a new year. It's new year, clean slate. It's let go of the grudges from 2022.
Or all other years.
Or all
other years. Just let them go.
Grudges grudges affect you more than they affect anybody else.
Well, they're number one, they're heavy.
Yeah.
So like if you're carrying all these grudges at some point, you just can't walk anymore because it's super heavy, and it feels so good to just let it go. And half of the time when people upset you, it wasn't intentional, right? I mean, a lot of times we feel slighted because of whatever happened. And it's like there are times when people go out of their way to make other people miserable. But a lot of times it's just misinterpretations of things, right? You did this, it hurt my feelings, and I didn't tell you. And it's like, it just doesn't matter. Just let it go and move on. Like most people are in the same spot that we're all in, which is just trying to get through today and make it to tomorrow and be the best person we can be. And we're going to fail a lot of times, but we're going to try again. So just like forgiveness. And it's not hard.
It's not. And that's not saying
it feels good too.
Maha and I talk about this all the time. That's not saying forget. It's just forgive and move on.
And just let go. Like just let go of it. It's a freeing feeling. And then you don't have to, I don't know, when you run into people that maybe upset you in the past, like it isn't weird anymore because you're just not mad anymore. Like being mad is hard. It takes so much energy to be mad, and it takes a lot less energy to just like be like, you know what? I'm just not going to carry that with me anymore. Yeah. Gone. Bye.
So I actually read this the other day, and I thought this was very interesting, and I wanted to share this one as a for people who are really struggling in their life right now, because I know there are people out here that are listening that might not be in a good spot. Your problems might seem or be overwhelming and a lot to deal with, and comparing to other people is this person's having it worse or this or that. That's never helpful.
No, it's not a measuring stick.
No, it's not.
No.
But I have read that if you bring a plant into your house, it improves your happiness and your productivity levels. So bringing in something green from some nature. I mean,
does it have to be a real plant?
It has to be a real plant.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry. It needs to be something that you take care of.
I see that. Like a nurturing.
It needs to be something that you nurture. Yeah. So like a fake succulent can do the trick.
No. Okay.
But just one small thing. If you're really struggling in your life right now and you just bring a plant in that you enjoy to look at, that makes you happy, and it's something you have to take care of. So it just,
and it's something that you can, it's one positive thing you can do every day.
Yeah.
If I just water this plant today, then I accomplished that.
And plants have been proven to reduce stress. So,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I recently had to release a plant, if we will, okay, because I got
they do have the end of their life too.
No, this was my dog sitter gave me this plant, and it was an act of kindness, and I liked this plant, but I am not good with plants, and so
you live in a very shaded area.
I kept this plant alive for I think 6 years, and my mom finally came over, and she was like, "Honey, I feel like your plant could live a better life if it moved to a new home," and so I rehomed my plant. And it's much bigger and has grown already in the 4 weeks that it has not been living in my house. And while I feel like I failed the plant,
oh my gosh, you did. You dropped it off.
I found it a new home.
Yeah.
And I got an orchid for my birthday, which my husband gave me. And I thought that was a beautiful present. But I immediately rehomed it to my mother's house the next morning because orchids are very tricky and it wasn't going to last a week at my house. It made me happy though for 24 hours. And then I was
good job, Barry.
I know myself. I am not capable of this.
That is a beautiful plant though. Shout out to Barry. That's a good one.
Yeah. And my mom is now taking care of it. So I can go visit it anytime.
Okay. Just a few more I have on this list.
Yeah.
Okay. Avoid people who complain a lot. And my note here was, it doesn't matter how positive a person you are. negativity spreads and it will impact you.
Debbie Downers.
Yeah. On a similar note, remove negativity or anything that makes you feel lousy. So that's even like super sad movies or like super, dreadful news sources, things like that. Just remove the negativity.
You don't need that stuff. It doesn't add. Like one of my friends.
I'm not saying don't follow the news. I mean, it's very important to follow the news, but
if it overwhelms you, you can follow less of it.
Yes.
A friend of mine years ago told me if it doesn't add value to your life, then just remove it. And that included people, circumstances, like activities. Like if it didn't, if the good didn't outweigh the bad, you had to just let it go.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yep.
That's an easy way to evaluate things and say, you know what, this isn't good for me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on.
Okay, two more.
I
have written down. Donate clothes you never wear. So like a lot of people, I know me included, tend to hang on to the stuff just in case stuff.
Oh, I got a lot of just in cases.
Yeah. If you haven't worn it a year, give it to someone else to have a chance with. And I'm not saying sell it on Poshmark. I'm not saying do
just
any of that.
Goodwill.
Give it to someone who needs
St.
it.
Vincent de Paul, all those places.
The chances that you're going to miss it are slim.
You probably don't even know you have it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Don't get rid of like the, your business suit that you need to have that you haven't worn in a year. But if there is a shirt that has been in your closet that you've been hanging on to, I know one in my closet right now that I'm thinking of. It has some embroidery stuff on it. I'm thinking about a good fiesta party I'm going to have in the future. I have not worn that thing in 3 years. I need to get rid of it.
I'm not going to have, then you'll probably have a fiesta party the next day.
I know.
I'm kidding.
But someone would find joy out of that fiesta shirt.
I also think, tapping in with that is not just clothing, but like we collect clutter. We especially collect clutter during the holiday season. Yeah. And so a good thorough, like room by room, like let's just like clean all this stuff up because clutter causes stress. It truly does.
It does.
And so decluttering, just again, room by room, closet, kitchen, bathroom,
or offices or cars or anything.
Yeah, like if we haven't used it in a year, if we don't need it anymore, if we're outgrown. I was going through my kids' clothes the other day trying to find a pair of sweatpants in case it got cold, which it hasn't gotten cold yet. They had like size 8 sweatpants in there. Like my kids wear size 14.
Yeah.
So they haven't worn those sweatpants in 6 years. And I was like, we have got to like over Christmas break, everyone has to like clean.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be decluttered, which will alleviate stress. But then we're giving all these things a new chance to make someone else happy.
Exactly. Or someone who just needs them,
Yeah.
Yeah, so those were, and this one is just a happy that I actually got one in the mail a few weeks ago from a friend from college, and it brought me so much joy that I was like, this would be send handwritten letters.
Handwritten notes, that's nice.
It is. It's just a good little, and it's, I mean, I like writing notes. I mean, I'm sure everyone kind of likes to do that, and then people really like receiving them. So,
because it shows that you took time to do something.
Yeah.
Actually, I found a handwritten card when I was decluttering my dresser the other day, and it was very sweet. And I was like, I didn't remember getting this, but I'm glad I have it now.
Okay, on a story on that note, can I talk about the time that we found who was the other person we were with? I do not remember where we were or what we were talking about. We were all talking about these handwritten letters that we had. And
This was it was Rachel Moss, you, me, and Ashley, and we were at a race weekend, and we were talking about letters, and
she was talking about this letter that she got from this person we used to work with, and she's like, I found that letter in my underwear drawer the other day, and we were like, excuse me.
And I was like, wait, but that's where I keep like all the really nice like things that people give me, like birthday cards. I didn't preface that.
No,
I didn't preface that.
And she was like, I put this in my underwear drawer, and we were like,
it's the
what?
creepiest thing ever. I was cleaning out my dresser the other day, and I found this birthday card in my underwear drawer, and it was like very nice. And so I maybe should just find another place to keep
picture your
stuff.
underwear drawer with a bunch of underwear and random birthday cards.
That's exactly what it is.
You probably have a good gift card in there somewhere.
I don't know why it is either. There's no backstory.
Maybe for Christmas I'll get you a pretty box where you put keepsakes. That's what I have, and it's under my dresser.
I mean, that's what a drawer is. It just share it with my underwear. Maybe I could just have a divider, and it would be less weird.
I have a pretty box under my nightstand. That's where my keepsakes are.
I do a lot of random things that they make sense to me, but in the context of trying to explain them
when you
to
were
other
like,
people.
I found this note from this in my underwear drawer. I was like, why did you put that in your underwear drawer? That is so weird.
Halfway through that story, I was like, none of this makes sense right now, but it did at the time. Anyway,
so that is kind of
those are our tips for like making New Year's resolutions. And remember, you can resolve to do something better and different in your life at any time. New Year's just happens to be the logical time that most people do it, but like you can resolve to do better tomorrow or in March.
Yeah, I just thought of another really good one.
Okay,
and then we'll close it up. cooking is a great thing to do. So if you ever have not tried cooking, you should start cooking, and then you should follow Basic Eats, and you should subscribe to our newsletter.
Those things. Done. Da-ding.
Okay.
Do we have a joke?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Of course we do.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Abby.
Abby who?
Happy New Year!
I didn't think that's where that was going. That wasn't bad. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Healthy is Happy podcast. On this, we covered New Year's resolutions, and we hope that you enjoyed the content.
And that you have a very happy 2023.
Amen to that. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Healthy is Happy podcast. You can follow us on Facebook at Basic Living BR, Instagram for all things healthy and happy living at Basic Living BR, and for more nutrition-focused content, follow us on Instagram at _basic_eats.